Hey guys, Thomas the Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here with one of those update videos that, a lot of people don't like watching anyways, but it is what it be in these times, these trying times. So, the terrible situation I find myself in is that uh, funds are getting a little bit scarce, and finding a job where I live has been relatively consistently difficult. Uh, so I guess I should explain a little bit more about what I mean. So I think it was around 2 years ago at this point, or a year and a half, somewhere around there. Had a job, uh, did it, was miserable at doing it, but I did it to get paid, generally speaking, to support myself, my family, etc. And at some point, I got injured at the place where I worked, which I don't really care for naming it, so I'll just say that it is indeed Walmart. I got injured there. Uh, the people there did not seem to care whatsoever. Got a back injury, and since then, uh, have not been able to reestablish or reaffirm a job, and toppled that with the whole COVID situation that has made it even harder to find a job, because a lot of places around here, like any other location, have had closed down and slowly are opening back up, only recently, depending, and so on and so forth. But the point being is that those jobs were the jobs that were there years ago, and certain of those jobs require qualifications that some of which I do not have. And whenever I come across that situation, I'm always constantly reminded of people that I see on this platform who are sometimes even political, and then, again, I don't care about mentioning names. The one person I've watched, someone like Ben Shapiro, for example, will just say, just get a job, and he'll leave the statement as that. And I always found that statement quite fascinating, how he'll just state, just get a job, and not qualify how hard it is with the qualifications that you need to get that job. He insinuates by just saying, just get a job, is that it is easy to get a job. It is not easy to get a job. It is quite difficult, especially if you live in an area like I do and you don't have the qualifications for a particular job. It lowers the amount of jobs you can actually find. And being injured does not help in any way, shape, or form. It, again, decreases the amount of jobs I can actually look for where I live. And because I'm poor and have been for the past 6 years I've been on this very platform, moving has been out of the question. I can't escape. And, this is, again, someone who will say, oh, just move, despite not answering the very surreal question of, well, what if those people are poor? And what if they haven't been able to find jobs because of the qualification issue? And, if you're directing it in a particular location or to a person like myself in this situation. So that has been my fear for quite some time now, is that not having had that job and just being coastlining off of support elsewhere is not ideal. And of course, there's always the things I want to do versus the things that I had to do. Working at that Walmart was something I had to do at that time until I got injured, And all the meanwhile, I was always trying to do what I wanted to do and get paid for it. Way back in 2014 is when I published my first book, Syndicate X. I'm a writer. I love to write. But based off of where I came from and my education, it is one of those unfortunate circumstances where I did not learn enough about publishing before publishing my book, and because of that, it burned me quite a ways back in terms of money. And, being an author like that is dependent on people knowing that you've published a book, knowing, getting your book out there. There's so much behind something like that that is so dependent on having other people, see the thing or buy the thing that you're trying to sell them. Same thing with YouTube. Despite what people may tell you, YouTube is a job, period. It has been for a while now. In fact, YouTube became a job ever since I reached 100 subscribers. That is when YouTube dictated that it is indeed a business, that it is indeed has qualifications that you need to be a YouTuber that gets paid via getting monetized. YouTube is a job, and that is just the reality of it. People will tell you that YouTube is not a job, and in fact, when it comes to entertainment, purely entertainment, I'm not talking about getting out there and doing all this action-y stuff or whatever, I would actually argue that YouTube is probably one of the harder jobs to maintain, get paid for, and live a, happy life based off of that. A lot of these smarter YouTubers with bigger platforms ready always depend more on Patreon, and I don't have any Patreon supporters. I never have, and never probably will. I don't know. Again, it is dependent on how much people can find me, and if whether or not they find my content worthy of giving a Patreon support to. Which is why I've been trying to make my reviews more in-depth, or my Let's Plays being as varied as they are. That is the very reason I do that, is to try to get people to notice my channel, because YouTube, the qualifications to be a YouTuber, a paid YouTuber, is not by how skilled you are, it is by the number of subscribers you currently have. And that to me has always been a point of contention that I've consistently fought against ever since it was announced. I always felt like this was the wrong way to go about handling YouTube being a business, being a job, is basing it off the number of subscribers you have. I find it almost funny, if anything. YouTube is saying that your success is purely dependent on the number of subscribers you have, and not what you are actually saying or doing. And that to me just rings so hollow about what YouTube has become recently. And it gets worse, because apparently YouTube can decide, if it wants to, monetize your videos even if you can't. Apparently that's a thing that's rolling out very soon, or it just hasn't hit my channel yet. So that's only going to discourage smaller YouTubers and bigger YouTubers who are controversial. That's it. And that's going to drive them all away. And has driven other smaller YouTubers away already. And, the bigger YouTubers who fit into YouTube's mold will continue to be their little, as much as, and this is the secret, right? This is something no bigger YouTuber will actually ever say. They're part of the algorithm. I know. That's a shock that I would admit that, but then again, I'm a smaller YouTuber. I don't care. That is the honest truth about how the YouTube algorithm works. Their names are part of the algorithm. Go ahead and attempt to prove me wrong. You cannot. Notice if I mention the name PewDiePie and I tag PewDiePie, my video will have more views on it. And I've tested this before on one of my previous videos, so I already know that that's true. If I tag someone like PewDiePie, the number of people who watch my video goes up slightly more than if I don't. That's because someone like PewDiePie is a part of the algorithm. Even people who hate the algorithm, they're part of the algorithm too if they have a number of subscribers. If they have enough people watching them, they are a part of the YouTube algorithm. Whether they think so or not, it doesn't matter. They are a part of the YouTube algorithm. That's just how it works, and that's how it has worked in the past. It's just that not a lot of... I don't think I've ever heard a big YouTuber ever admit it. So, yes, that is the situation I am in, and I'm absolutely terrified of, what I'm gonna try to do now. I don't know. I honestly don't know. The amount of jobs I can try to find outside of YouTube are so intensely limited right now, still, is scary, and everything I want to do is so dependent on trying to reach that audience that I've never been able to maintain, whether it's publishing that book or being a YouTuber. These jobs are so dependent on finding that audience, and just the way YouTube works now, it's just, I don't know if I can be a certified YouTuber. I don't consider myself a certified YouTuber because of the number thing, and that's just how it is. If there are other smaller YouTubers who come across this video, and if they were to ask me, how would you go about, making content on this platform? And I would tell you, or that individual, to say to go to all your friends and tell them to subscribe to your channel. They don't have to watch your videos, probably, but it only help additionally, but the biggest thing would probably to subscribe to your YouTube channel. Even if they aren't going to watch your content, because that number is so powerful, and so many people deny that it is powerful. It is powerful. It is one of the bigger factors about being a YouTuber. I find it so sad. It's the equivalent of saying, if I were to make a comparison, it's like saying a movie is successful because of the amount of money it makes. Is the equivalent of saying, oh, because of that YouTuber that has this many subscribers, that means they are a good YouTuber. And spoiler alert, I'm gonna say it, PewDiePie to me is not the best YouTuber. He never has been, but he just happens to have the most subscribers. And that's not to say that he's a bad YouTuber. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that I wouldn't say he's the best. So, again, it's so troubling to find a foothold, getting away in, and I mean because where I am now still isn't enough, and that scares me. So, I really hope that this video finds people who will watch it all the way through, It is an update video, but again, I'm going to tag it with the people I mentioned, the Ben Shapiro and the Pewdiepie, just to see that number go up slightly more than it usually does, because that's how it works. And I hope that people may consider joining my Patreon page, whether they start to see my other content and start to see that I'm really trying to put much more work into Slayer reviews. And my Let's Plays have still been extremely varied. And again, I still have that 200 subscriber video ready. It has been ready for a bit now, and I'm still 3 away, and I'm not going to publish it until I reach 200, and I already have further plans for if I ever reach 1,000, if I ever do reach that ultimate goal of being monetized worthy, being a proper YouTuber. I have plans for all of it, but until that happens, I'm just going to remain worried and panicked and not know where to go, who to outreach to, because I used my alternate persona of Zeke Dartel to try to target the bigger YouTubers, try to say, hey, I'm here, and I'm not, I'm going to continue to challenge the bigger YouTubers, because it is that outreach that I feel like not a lot of smaller YouTubers ever, rarely, 0% chance ever get. Again, I have not seen an example of a bigger YouTuber actually give a smaller YouTuber a legitimate chance. It has not come across me ever in my 6 years, actually longer than 6 years. I've probably been here, and I'm probably breaching 7.5, 8 years almost here on YouTube. I'm like slowly inching toward a decade on being on this platform, and I'm still not getting that, I'm still not getting there, and that's got me really worried about what my entire future holds. So, again, if you see this video, please feel free to like it, because all the stuff that people mentioned, the like, comment, and subscribing stuff, all 3 of those things are going to help out tremendously, because it's all that shit is part of the YouTube algorithm. And that's why I always feel the need to say that stuff. And that's why so many other YouTubers do it as well. Just a little hint to the YouTubers who might want to come to be YouTubers if you've made it this far in the video. So again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. Again, first I'll head you over to my Discord channel. That's been relatively super small, and I want to grow a community out of that too. Free collaboration things are opted into that channel. The second link will lead you over to my Patreon page. Again, if you feel like my previous works have been any example, the Resident Evil Let's Play that I've been pumping out, the Biomutant Let's Play, the other games that I've been cycling through, as well as the better and increased time length movie reviews. If you believe that any of that content is worth Patreon supporting, then please do so. I also have Dungeons and Dragons every Sunday live with Captain Venom on his channel. Collaboration group. Again, I thought that was going to blow up pretty quickly, because that came around the time of when Dungeons and Dragons really blew up on YouTube. But again, I'm not too surprised that it's growing smaller, because we started recently, and that's another big factor, is that, again, starting when you do help, is it sets you are where you are in the algorithm too. And the more people mention the PewDiePies and the Markipliers and the Jacksepticeyes and the other Let's Players, for example, the more relevant they will stay to the algorithm. So, for example, if one day PewDiePie were to quit YouTube, eventually, he won't be a part of the algorithm anymore. That's just how it's going to be eventually. I'm not saying that's going to happen anytime soon, but again, that's just the way YouTube is. And someone else will cycle into his place eventually. Uh, so, yeah. And of course, that will, those live streams will also be put into our collaboration group channel, which I'll also link below the Patreon page. So if you are a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, I would highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.